Something just happened in the WNBA, and it could change everything. A bombshell controversy is shaking the league to its core. Referees, power plays, even the commissioner. Nothing is off limits. And at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Footage is now circulating that seems to confirm what fans have suspected all along. The refs have an agenda, and Clark might be paying the price. Just like that, the entire landscape of the WNBA could shift. The commissioner, the league office, the team owners, even the Players Association, it can all change in an instant. And this injury, it should be a wake-up call, a reminder that all the hype, all the buzz, all the growing attention around the league, it can disappear just as fast as it arrived. Then, the unthinkable happened. The WNBA fired its commissioner. Yes, Kathy Engelbert is out. At least, that's what the insiders are saying. After one of the most chaotic officiating scandals we've seen in recent memory, the backlash has been intense. Fans are outraged, players are going public, and the league? It hit the panic button. Hard. But here's where it gets wild. They're not just scrambling for a replacement. According to whispers behind the scenes, they've already picked someone. And this name? It's going to catch everyone off guard. We're talking about a true icon of the game. Championship pedigree, Hall of Fame status, someone who's shaped the culture of basketball for decades, but never someone fans expected to see tied to the WNBA in this way. If the rumors are real, this could be the biggest shakeup in league history. So stick with us. We're diving into every missed call, every layer of drama, and yes, we're about to reveal the stunning name reportedly set to take the reins and clean up the chaos. Trust me, this is going to rattle the entire league. First off, I really didn't even want to make this video, because what I just watched unfold on national television was absolutely brutal. Broadcast live on CBS, and yet, somehow, no one stepped in. What happened out there wasn't just bad officiating. It was unacceptable. At this point, these WNBA referees need to be held accountable, fined, investigated, something, anything. Because the missed calls against the New York Liberty, they were on another level. If this had been an NBA game, half those players would have fouled out by halftime. Some would have been riding the bench in serious foul trouble. But in this one, it was like the whistle was broken and only worked one way. The way Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were getting hammered out there, it was honestly hard to watch. Possession after possession, the contact was obvious. And yet, silence. No whistle. No protection. Sure, credit to the Fever, they clawed their way back from a 15-point hole. But let's be real, the biggest story of this game wasn't the comeback. It wasn't the final score. It was the officiating. I told you this was coming. Back in the offseason, I said it plain. If Caitlin Clark and the Fever started to rise, the officials were going to try to knock them down. And that's exactly what we saw. This wasn't just a bad night. This was a deliberate derailment. Let's rewind for a second. Indiana Fever versus New York Liberty. Packed arena. Energy like a playoff game. National TV broadcast. Caitlin Clark squaring off with the reigning champs. Everything was lined up for a WNBA classic. But instead, it turned into a nightmare. From the opening tip, something felt off. Caitlin couldn't touch the ball without getting swiped, shoved, bumped, and yet nothing. Lexi Hull? She got called for a phantom foul so ridiculous, fans were left asking the obvious question. Are the refs even watching the same game? What really gets me is how often the refs in the WNBA call fouls on screeners, yet somehow let illegal screens slide constantly. It's baffling. There's no consistency, and the players feel it. At the end of the game, you could see the frustration boiling over. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham were both livid. They chased down the official after the final buzzer, desperate for an explanation. And what did the ref do? Turned his back. Walked away. Refused to even acknowledge them. In that moment, you could feel it. This wasn't just another hard-fought loss. This felt like something deeper, a breaking point. Let's talk numbers. The Liberty shot 32 free throws. The Fever, just 15. That's more than double. In a game that came down to a few possessions. You don't need to be a stat geek to see the problem there. Final possession. Caitlin Clark, fighting through traffic, trying to get free on a screen. 1 second left on the clock. Obvious contact. Foul right there. But again, no whistle. Clark never even gets a shot off. Natasha Cloud wraps her up, and just like that, New York steals a win in Indianapolis. Now, so far this season, the Fever are sitting at a -31 in free throw differential. Let that sink in. That's not a small gap. That's a red flag the size of Madison Square Garden. This isn't just a rough stretch. This is systemic. Caitlin Clark has been taking more hits than any rookie should ever have to endure. It's gotten to the point where it's not just physical, it's reckless. Think back to the Kennedy Carter incident. She blindsided Clark off the ball with a hit so violent you'd expect it in the NFL, not on a basketball court. And what did the refs do? Called it a common foul. That's it. No flagrant. No technical. No real consequence. Just a shrug and move on. That's not just lazy officiating. It's dangerous. It sends a message that these kinds of hits are fine, that there's no real need to protect players, especially not Clark. And let's be honest, this didn't happen in a vacuum. That clip? It was everywhere, blowing up on Twitter. People from all over the basketball world were talking about it. You could have an NBA ref scout at a high school game, and they'd still hear about that play. So when the league announced that the refs from the Liberty versus Fever game were being suspended, it almost felt like a step in the right direction. Like maybe, just maybe, there was some accountability. But that didn't last long, because, according to insiders, the suspension wasn't some bold move from the top. It wasn't Commissioner Kathy Engelbert making a statement. In fact, right after the suspension went public, Engelbert was asked to step down. Quietly, behind closed doors. This wasn't just a slap on the wrist for a bad officiating crew. This was a political shakeup, a power play. Frustrated executives and team owners, fed up with months of silence and inaction, decided enough was enough. They pulled the trigger. And when Caitlin Clark, the most talked-about rookie the league has seen in years, finally started to speak up, everything boiled over. Her voice carried weight, and once she broke her silence, there was no putting the lid back on. Some say Kathy Engelbert was thrown under the bus, made the scapegoat for a situation that had been spiraling for months. Others say she lost the confidence of the locker room long ago. Either way, the outcome was the same. The commissioner was out, and the WNBA was officially in full-blown damage control. But let's be clear, this drama didn't just pop up last week. You've got to rewind to last season to really see how deep this goes. The New York Liberty won the WNBA Finals. No controversy there, stacked team, well-earned championship. But what raised eyebrows came after the final buzzer. Kathy Engelbert walked onto the court to present the trophy, wearing a blue and black dress. Liberty colors? Not neutral? Not subtle? Liberty colors? Fast forward to now, and Caitlin Clark, Indiana's franchise rookie, is already taking repeated hits, literally and figuratively. And fans started connecting the dots. But it doesn't stop there. People started pointing back to Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. We actually broke it all down in another video. Because, yeah, some of the calls in crunch time looked questionable. Like really questionable. Enough that fans, analysts, even players were murmuring the word rigged. And just like before, Engelbert's dress had people talking again. This time, a patterned dress with the New York City skyline. It's those little things, those subtle visuals. When you stack them next to each other, they stop feeling like coincidences and start feeling like statements. Fans watching from home absolutely lost it. Was it intentional? Who's to say? But perception is powerful. And in that moment, for thousands of viewers, it felt like confirmation of something they'd quietly believed for a long time. The league plays favorites. And once that idea took root, every questionable call that went the Liberty's way only added more fuel to the fire. By the time the Fever game ended, that fire had become a full-blown inferno. The WNBA tried to throw water on it by suspending the referees. But instead of restoring trust, the move only deepened the skepticism. Fans weren't buying it. The questions came fast. Why now? Why only after the outrage? Why did it take viral clips for the league to step in? It didn't feel like leadership. It felt like damage control. A reaction, not a response. And that's a dangerous place for any professional league to operate from. Because while the drama plays out at the top, the Fever players are out there grinding, competing, earning every bucket. The fans? They're showing up in droves, selling out arenas, creating an electric atmosphere. The media's finally tuned in. The spotlight is bright. But at the top of the WNBA, it's felt like no one has a real plan. And that brings us to the real issue at the heart of all this. The league is growing faster than it's evolving, and that gap is becoming painfully obvious. Would any of this controversy even exist if Caitlin Clark wasn't in the league? Probably not. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie. She's a phenomenon, a ratings juggernaut, a marketing dream. She's packing arenas, boosting broadcast numbers, and pulling in millions of new fans who are watching the WNBA, many for the very first time. But with that spotlight comes intense scrutiny. When Clark takes a hit and the refs stay silent, it's not just a missed call anymore, it's trending. When she's dragged down in crunch time and the officials swallow the whistle, Twitter lights up. Sports shows talk about it. Headlines follow. This is what happens when your league finally breaks through to the mainstream. The stakes change. The margin for error shrinks. Every missed call becomes a national conversation. Every officiating misstep becomes a question of integrity. And that's why protecting your stars, especially ones like Caitlin Clark, isn't just important. It's non-negotiable. Now let's talk about the media disaster that poured gasoline on an already raging fire. During an interview, Kathy Engelbert was asked about the growing toxicity on social media, specifically the waves of racism, misogyny, and homophobia targeting players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and others. Her response? She pivoted to marketing, called it a bird magic moment, framed the tension and rivalries as good for business, said that people caring, even if it was hateful, meant the league was relevant. And just like that, the backlash came fast and loud. Terry Jackson, executive director of the WNBA, didn't hold back. She issued a statement that cut through the noise. There is absolutely no place in sport or in life for the vile hate, racist language, and misogynistic attacks our players are facing. And she wasn't the only one. Players across the league, Breanna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, Alicia Clark, spoke out. They said Engelbert missed the moment entirely, that she had a chance, on a silver platter, to stand up and denounce the hate. Instead, she fumbled it. Instead of defending the players, instead of standing behind the league's values, she chose to protect the brand. And that might have been the final straw. So here we are. The WNBA has finally arrived in the national spotlight. More eyes are on the league than ever before. The arenas are packed. The media coverage is constant. The momentum is real. But while the lights are bright, the foundation underneath? It's starting to crack. The officiating, broken, the leadership, in desperate need of a reset. And the trust between players, coaches, fans, and the league, it's hanging on by a thread. Players are speaking out. Coaches are visibly frustrated. Fans are asking the tough questions out loud. And the league? It can't afford to keep its head down anymore. And here's the kicker. It all came to a head during that bruising matchup against the Liberty. The same game where Caitlin Clark was getting bumped, shoved, and straight up hacked nearly every time she touched the ball. No whistles, no protection, just more punishment. On repeat. After the game, Clark told the team something didn't feel right with her leg. They got her checked out. An MRI confirmed it, a quad strain. And just to be clear, this isn't a lingering preseason injury. This is new. This is fresh. Coach Stephanie White didn't sugarcoat it. They're going to be cautious. Extremely cautious. Because they know exactly what Caitlin Clark means. To the Indiana Fever, to their season, and to the entire WNBA. Look, Caitlin's been grinding through pain since training camp. She even missed her first preseason game due to some tightness. But this is different. Now, it's serious. Now they have to sit her down and let her fully recover. And let's not ignore what she's been doing on the court. 19 points a game, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. She's not just a rookie. She's been running the show in Indiana. And now, she's out. Possibly for 4 straight games. This is a huge deal, not just for the Fever, but for the entire league. When Caitlin's not out there, the WNBA feels different. She brings the juice, the attention, the highlight plays. And without her, you can already feel the shift. So now the question becomes, how do the Fever respond? Who steps up in her absence? And can the WNBA keep the energy alive without its biggest star on the floor? Hopefully, Caitlin comes back soon, healthy, strong, and ready to go. But until then, The league just became a whole lot more unpredictable. All right, let's circle back to what we were talking about. Because behind the scenes, one name is suddenly lighting up text threads, group chats, and league offices across the country. A name being whispered as the person who could step in, clean up the chaos, and give the WNBA the leadership it desperately needs right now. Multiple sources say this isn't just about finding a replacement commissioner. This is about making a statement. This is about bringing in someone who commands instant respect. Someone who knows basketball on a soul level. Someone who doesn't just get the game, he is the game. Larry Bird. Yeah, that Larry Bird. Indiana icon. Hall of Famer. Three-time NBA champion. Basketball savant. The man who built winners with the Indiana Pacers, changed the game with the Celtics, and became one of the most respected minds in the sport. He's not just a basketball legend, he's a straight shooter. No fluff, no PR spin, just results. And if the rumor is true, and the WNBA really is bringing in Larry Bird, that's not a bandage. That's a full reset. A total cultural pivot. A way of telling fans, players, and everyone watching, we hear you. And we're ready to do things differently. Because this isn't about slapping a new face on the same problems. This is about building something stronger, from the top down. Larry Bird doesn't play games. He sets standards. He leads with purpose. He's not afraid of hard conversations, not afraid to hold people accountable, and definitely not afraid to fix what's broken. Picture it. Larry walking into the commissioner's office, rolling up his sleeves and going straight to work. Fixing officiating? You better believe it. Laying down consistent rules and expectations? Absolutely. Making sure players like Caitlin Clark don't get blindsided without consequences? Done. And most of all, restoring the integrity of the game, because that's what Larry Bird stands for. This isn't just a PR move, it's a message. A message that the WNBA is ready to turn the page and start a new chapter. So what do you think? Is Larry Bird the answer the league's been waiting for? Or is this just another rumor in a season full of drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you're riding with us, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Because if Larry Bird steps in, this league is about to get real.